Cholera here now, bringing you Game 2 of Nauro vs. Savior at the 2006 MSL Semifinals, the Holy War. And I have to say, Savior must be itching for revenge here in Game 2. This map is Longinus. We have Nauro spawning in white at the 11 o'clock position, Savior spawning in yellow at the 7 o'clock position. Game 1, of course, was absolutely epic at the end, coming down to elimination of all the buildings after all the minerals were mined. And I have to say, I watched it over again. Savior actually took out all of Nauro's buildings in his main and all of his bases about 15 seconds before Nauro could take down all of Savior's buildings. And had it not been for the Protoss ability to hide a pylon anywhere on the map, Nauro would have lost the game. So Savior must be itching for revenge right now in Game 2. I have to say though, both players are playing this consecutively on one day, so it must be quite exhausting for them. Both players are probably quite tired after the 50-minute slogfest that was Game 1. And this map, Longinus, 3-player map, looks like Nauro is going to scout in the right direction, and so is Savior. He's going to scout in the right direction. So I feel like Savior could have won Game 1 in 2 points at least, but especially in the beginning when his Hydralisk Rush just didn't materialize, even when he had enough forces, I feel, to go and take Nauro out, probably at the 7th minute or so. But in any case, Savior now setting up his second hatchery as natural expansion. Looks like Nauro is going to try to get his second expansion also. And actually, it looks like he's going to go for his natural before he builds a gateway. That looks like what he's going to do with the positioning of his probe. And yes, he is going to go for a 12 Nexus or something like that. And Savior's going to get his spawning pool up. So Nauro, having spotted Savior, knows that Savior's going for a 12 hatchery and decided to go for a 12 Nexus, which is fairly safe against this kind of build. But it's still risky. I have to say, I mean, Modern plays against Zerg when they do 12 Nexus or 14 CC. I still think they're risky because they become a little more vulnerable to fast tech, and also more vulnerable to another expansion being put up for Zerg, because Zerg will often react by putting up a second expansion, which is what Savior looks like he's going to do with that drone wandering around. It looks like Nauro is actually going for a Forge now after building his Nexus, so going kind of for a Bisu build, except with the order changed. Savior's getting his spawning pool up, and Longinus does have a choke that's fairly easy to hold against an early Zergling rush, because it's just not too wide and you can fit a Forge and a cannon there. And it looks like Nauro actually hiding a probe there, actually very cleverly suspecting that Savior is going to expand a second time, and he's probably going to spot where Savior is going to go there. And Nauro putting a pylon to block the natural expansion of the 3 o'clock base. So Nauro just being very tricky, stymieing Savior from picking up that expansion easily. Excuse me. And if you guys haven't heard of it, please go and check out the GSI on Savior building an extractor to conserve the health of his drone, which was getting damaged. And Savior trying to play at the hatchery, can't play at the hatchery. Nauro, once again, excellent pro micro. You can see maybe a little bit of frustration in Savior's face because he's unable to put down his third hatchery, and that's going to send him behind actually, because you really, as the Zerg, you need your hatcheries up as soon as possible in the correct build order. And Nauro has delayed it by at least a minute here. It's just incredible micro from one probe. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, go check out the GOM TV Star Invitational. They've started a new series with Nick Tasteless Plot commentating, and it is quite incredible. It has Savior and 3 other players, Mind, Flash, and Stork. And it just came out, and it hasn't been advertised enough, I feel. So go and check it out. Just search up for GOM TV Star Invitational. And now we're finally allowing Savior to, well, finally losing his probe, and Savior's going to be able to pick up that second expansion. But Savior's actually quite far behind in the fact that he doesn't have a third hatchery up, and hasn't had it for a while. Nauro, meanwhile, I saw in his base, he did have 1 cannon and gateway. Didn't mention that yet. And now Savior finally going to set up his second expansion. Savior producing about six Zerglings or so, and he has upgraded to Lair. He's upgrading to Lair, but the problem is Nauro is going to spot this with his scouting probe, and Nauro just, I have to say, he's playing quite well this second match here. And Savior, I'm not sure if he's very far behind, but he's certainly being pestered by Nauro, and Nauro just being very pesky this game. And Nauro getting his Cybernetics core now. Savior does have more Zerglings than Nauro has Zealots. Nauro only has 1 Zealot. And Savior is getting a Spire up, so he's going straight for Spire this time. He's not going for Hydralisks. Last game he didn't go for Spire until quite late, but Nauro's going to spot this again with his probe. Naura just excellent probe micro this entire game so far. And Savior now has speed upgraded Zerglings and finally takes the probe out. But Naura's going to know this Spire is coming. Savior's going to lose the element of surprise there. But Savior also getting Hydralisk Den up. His second expansion is almost up. And we'll see if Naura decides to build some cannons around his two Nexi. And he's going for a Citadel of Adun, so it looks like he's gonna... I'm guessing he's gonna go for High Templar and then Archons, which are a good defense against Mutalisks. And Savior just dancing around the front here. He has a good number of Zerglings. If Savior can use the either Hydralisk or Mutalisks to break the cannons up there, those Zerglings could prove to be really effective against the non-existent ground forces. And Savior now sending another drone out. He's got two extractors up. Oh, I think he's just transferring his drones to the second expansion. If you guys have a chance, check out sc2gg.com. I'm a commentator there, and there are a lot of great commentators there. Just Hazard's back doing another Savior series against Flash in the NBC All-Star Skins, and it's an incredible series so far. Motrap and Diggity are both commentating, of course, and a lot of new commentators there also. So be sure to check that out. Looks like Savior's actually building a creep colony in front. Not sure if that was necessary. Perhaps Savior just being a little more cautious this game. I'm a little surprised by that because he should know he has more forces than Naura, and that Naura just... Well, I guess he doesn't necessarily know, but he should guess that his Zerglings are going to be enough for now. And those creep colonies are going to step back a little bit. Looks like Naura is getting extensive defenses of his own around his main nexus. And he's getting a weapon spawn upgrade, I'm assuming, from the Forge. And Savior actually getting two creep colonies, as at that expansion he has a third hatchery in his base, so up to 4 hatcheries total. And he's getting a second Spire. Is that a mistake? Is Savior making a mistake here with 2 Spires? I don't know what's going on, because he just built a second Spire. I'm sure he had one at his natural expansion. So unless he's going for double expansions, or he cancelled the first Spire and built a Hydralisk Den up, I have no idea what he's doing. Wow, normally Zerg players never get 2 Spires unless they're going for some crazy air build that's unheard of. But I guess Savior... No, it looks like Savior did cancel his Spire at his natural expansion. I guess he saw that Naura saw it, and he decided to cancel it and go for Hydralisk and save a little bit of resources. But of course, canceling a building makes you lose a third of the resources anyway, so I wonder if that was the best idea. But anyway, Savior now spotting the first DT moving in. Actually, Naura is going to go for DTs, but without the support of Corsairs, DTs just aren't that effective against Zerg because of all the Overlords that Zerg has wandering around. So, and Savior now with Sunken Colonies and Overlords at his second expansion is not going to have any problems dealing with this. First Archon out for Naura, and perhaps it was a good idea for Savior to cancel a Spire and go for Lurkers and Hydralisks instead, because Naura has spent a lot of resources building those photon cannons around his main nexus, and those aren't going to be that effective against ground forces, of course. And it looks like Naura managing to intercept 2 drones there and killing them with his DT. Very good there by him. And he's trying to get a second expansion up. I feel like this might be a little soon though, with just an Archon and a couple of Zealots to defend. Perhaps he thinks that Savior... Perhaps he just doesn't know what Savior's doing. He doesn't know that Savior's gone for Lurkers and Hydralisks, and that that ground force is... that those Archons are going to be so effective against Hydralisks. Excuse me. And Naura now just scouting with his DT at the 4 o'clock position, and Savior actually now with Mutalisks. Savior going for a strange sort of build this game. I don't know if it's going to pay off, because he canceled his Spire, slowed down the production of his Mutalisks. Now he's going for Mutalisks again, and I haven't seen so much of his Hydralisk-based units so far. So we'll see if this pays off. He's going definitely for sort of a deceptive build here, trying to outthink Naura, perhaps, and out-strategize Naura. And now Naura has to cancel his second expansion, actually. So that was good by Savior, forcing the cancel. And Savior actually going for an attack on the cannons. This might prove to be really successful if Naura can't get a storm out. He can't get a storm out, but now Savior's going to run to 3 cannons at the Nexus, and this is what I was talking about. Naura is quite prepared for his music harass here. He did lose his 2 cannons in the front, though, so if Savior can get some Hydros or Zerglings through, he could do a lot of damage. And now Savior trying to micro against these cannons, but I feel like that's going to be quite costly in his Mutalisk force. And Naura with his force on the field, looks like his pair of Archons are going to go towards the 3 o'clock position. They're going to be met with 3 Sunken Colonies and a Lurker. I think that's going to be able to hold against that force there. And now Savior going for Mutalisk harass again here. And this video is going to pause for a second. Sorry, it was in two parts. Okay.